We're live. Awesome. Hey, this is Jay at Auto Transport Intel, and we are live. We're in Atlanta, and this is unbelievable. We're at Transparency19, behind the scenes. The show starts tomorrow, and I'm here with CEO Craight Fuller of FreightWaves.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. Glad that you guys are as well.
Dude, okay, so I'm gonna say this. Okay, so I'm talking to you guys, car hauling audience. Do you know FreightWaves? Because I know FreightWaves because I read the trade magazines. And by the way, trade magazines, that's the past. Audio, video, how is it? If you're hearing me and seeing me, if you're seeing us, can you give a thumbs up? Let us know if the audio's okay, the video's okay. And if, guys, we have any viewers, anybody letting us know, please do let me know. I think we're okay, but I just want to make sure. Do I have do we have anybody? Okay, we're going to keep going. Okay, so FreightWaves.com. Craig, what's FreightWaves?
So we're a news and analytics provider for freight. So we've been described as the Bloomberg of freight. So we take in data from all sorts of different sources, as well as have staff that write commentary and talk about what's happening in the market.
So, I mean, right now, and I've seen LinkedIn people talking about FreightWaves. FreightWaves thing in trucking, media, current, relevant information.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think not only do we, look at current and relevant, but it's also certainly our traffic. We're about 4 times the size of our nearest competitor, and we're up. We're growing 50% per month. So it's just, I think at the end of the day, stuff is happening so fast, so quick, and it's never happened. Whether it's technology, whether it's new regulations, just the conversation is starting. And because of the speed at which it's happening, it's hard to keep up. And so our job is to help take in all of the information in the market and break it down so that people can help better plan their day.
You knew the stats when I said that. You knew that you are growing faster than you really are leading the pack. You already know that, right?
Yeah, it's the numbers are the numbers. And so yes, we certainly see the numbers, and it's always great to hear that folks like yourself are tuning in and looking at what we do.
That's the thing. I don't even work in freight. I don't drive. I'm not a broker. I'm not a carrier. I'm a car hauling enthusiast. And when I look at other online resources to get information, and you're skyrocketing right now, and that's no joke. I mean, it's awesome. So I can't believe that I'm here and that we're talking about.
Well, I'm glad I am actually, and I'm not saying this because you guys are standing in front of me, but that what you're doing in the auto sector is an underappreciated part of the trucking economy, and it's a part that is intriguing to me personally, because there's very little information about it. So I applaud you for bringing some more relevancy and more cadence to the industry. That perhaps has been forgotten, and look, even on us, there isn't a lot of information that we have access to in the auto hauling industry, and therefore it's hard for us to cover it. And so I think this is sort of serendipitous that we happen to be at the same convention center at the same day.
We're staying across the street at the Auto Haulers Association of America convention, and Ty and I are speaking on Tuesday, so that's 2 days from now. It's crazy that, I saw that Transparency19 would be here. I reached out to Timothy Dooner, who you've dispatched up to Ohio to cover the Falcon transport problem, right?
Yeah.
And I was hearing you, they've got an amazing hall where their convention has happened. It's unbelievable. Transparency19, if there's any way you can get down here, you need to do that. But you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about Falcon. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we never set out to be a media company. In fact, when we raised our capital, we never went out and said we even had media or news as part of our business model. It so happened that the business that we intended to build, which was a financial markets business based on trucking, none of the media that we now compete with would cover our story. And we were sort of forced to write about it. And we were forced to, if we wanted to be relevant and to even get this thing off the ground, we had to actually bring in our own writers and journalists to write about it. And what we found is the problem with writing about futures is that it's such a boring subject.
Oh, man.
That like 3 people would read it, my mom, my dad, and me. And so we're like, we have to write about all this stuff. And so we started writing about Tesla and Amazon, and then the hurricanes happened.
Right.
The hurricanes happened in Houston, and I had ran FEMA's disaster relief logistics a couple years back, and so I had firsthand knowledge of what the site and the tasks look like and what takes place. And we started writing and telling the story, and all of a sudden that was sort of our coming out moment, where people said, okay, this is not written the way a journalist would write the topic, where it's just written from, this was sort of firsthand. We call it tribal knowledge of being there, and I think that reinforced it. And so over the past year, we've raised about $40 million in capital, venture capital. And it's very hard for media outlets to raise capital today. You just can't. No venture capitalist wants to do it.
Right. Why
but because we have our SaaS business, our data business, that's highly profitable and growing really fast, SONAR, it enables us to invest in our editorial side. And so it's in many ways it's a labor of love. It's a passion that we put into it, but it's also a core to what we do, because we take data and we have to interpret that data. Data without context is meaningless. And so we have an opportunity to actually build a real sort of real-time journalism group, which is what we do.
It is amazing. And it's the boring stuff. This is one of my pit stuff. I'll do insurance or equipment, and I'm not always talking about the fun stuff, which is arguing about rates or whatever. And it seems to affect at least some of my ratings and whatnot. But I know that's the important stuff. That's what we need to talk about. This is an ecosystem, and we are in a community, and we are networking to improve our business. And some of it's boring, but it's important.
But I think the majority of freight transactions, the decisions happen within 48 hours. If a load is going to pick up, and at least in the dry van market, in auto it may be scheduled or whatnot, but potentially things could disrupt it. So you have all these decisions that people are making. So in the vast majority of freight, you have a 48-hour notice. You're told, pick up this load at this dock and deliver at that dock, and you have a two-day notice. The problem is most of the news, it was written weeks ago because it has to go into print, and it's dated, and by the time that information gets to the people that have to make decisions, it's old. And because of the speed of social media and just digital content, what you guys are doing, that anybody can push content, people who have the news first, who have the information first, are going to be on social media, they're going to be on YouTube, they're going to be on Facebook, they're going to be on Twitter. And if you wait 2 weeks to report a story, it's already old news. And so, and especially if you're trying to help people make decisions about their business, whether it's pricing or anticipating weather events or this plant shutting down or people being laid off or Amazon's getting into freight, that's going to have an impact within the next 48 hours. And so you have to be on top of it. And that's the reason for us, it's 24/7, 365.
I feel like if record it and then upload it, it's already old.
Any subject. I mean, that's the challenge, really. A lot of newspapers around the world, around the country, are going out of business because because anybody content. Some of it's really high quality, and it's not look. The fact that we exist sometimes shocks me when I look at the stuff we put out. But I mean this, and actually, what you see is that the production level quality is actually quite different. You take the studio level stuff, it doesn't in many ways seem authentic as the stuff done in
reality TV.
Someone in a truck. The Falcon, credit to, it's the Falcon story, broke first on social media. It was
really interesting to see that unfold.
It was a copy of a tweet.
Wow.
I happened to be.
It was just a few days ago, right?
It was on Saturday night. I saw it at 8:30.
1 week ago.
Yeah, 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that we can't just go online and say something. We have to verify it because you have some journalistic ethics. You want to make sure that you're just not, some driver's not pissed off and writing stuff, and you're like, this company went out of business and it's thriving, and that would get us, that would get us sued. So it took us a few hours to verify the facts, but we put our team on it that night, and we had the story out by midnight, and we were one of the only news outlets that reported that, and then some did a couple days later. But those drivers were being impacted immediately, and there's and people want to know what's happening. And if you think about the ecosystem, you have 700 trucks that are deployed, you have 700 drivers. The families want to know what's up with they want the story. They want to know the truth. The employees that were laid off or not paid, they weren't even late, they were just like cut off. They want to know why. What happened? What really happened, and not the gossip. They want a level of sort of deep digging and investigation. The leasers, I think Penske or Ryder had equipment. They're asking questions, and I think our responsibility is sort of tell that story. And Dooner, Tim went on site, and he got really personally invested in the story, emotionally invested.
Hearing him tell it isn't awesome.
Because these are people's lives that were through a bunch of different actions impacted them personally, and I think he took a lot of sort of personal pride and wanted to tell their story, and I think this is an opportunity where it's very clear that the principals at the company didn't operate the business efficiently, and we have an opportunity to tell it. And so it's and hopefully, regardless of what happens to the folks at Falcon, which is a really horrible story, hopefully they find jobs, people have context for it, and they can get it gainfully employed, and I hope that accomplishes it. But also, hopefully what happens is by talking about these stories and documenting them, that the future Falcon, people have context, and they'll sort of see patterns to play out, and like that sort of feels like a Falcon story.
That's one of the things I like about the way you all are operating is this isn't just sensationalism. This isn't yellow journalism, get the headline, knock them down, let's go get another one, fellas. This is educationally based. We want to actually help, and we're diagnosing the problem.
Yeah, I think we have an advantage. You take it freight media, and a lot of times in freight media they're underfunded. And so what happens is they're funded by a lot of freight media is funded. There's really two groups in traditional freight media, maybe three. You have the OEMs, the truck manufacturers are paying companies to write about trucks, and they'll put in some feature articles about just broader trucking topics. So Daimler and Volvo and Navistar and maybe Cummins is sponsoring, and so they build their whole team around really sort of to help these companies sell equipment and educate drivers about trucks. Then you have the other group, which are funded through recruiting budgets. And so companies that do recruiting ads, and they do stories and they do a good job, and it tends to be more lifestyle focused or stuff that they know drivers will read, and it's written from the perspective of what a driver cares about. And I think that they do quality work. And then you have association-driven publications like Transport Topics, which is driven to sort of educate the market on the point of view. And they all do really good work, but they do very specific work to their sort of goals. Ours is markets. And so what we do is say, what is going to impact the market today and what will impact it 10 years out? And we have that perspective of saying, we want the stories that are all about the freight economy, the actions, the political elements, the companies, the technology, the disruption, all that stuff is interesting to us. And so in many ways, what Wall Street Journal does to the broader markets, we're trying to do in freight. Now, we've been also called the ESPN of freight because we do play-by-play.
Wow.
Like sit around and show charts, and this is what happens, and that's sort of cool.
With FreightWaves Now, right?
FreightWaves Now
That's
is basically, it's every day at 4 p.m. Chad goes on and usually has 3 or 4 guests. Basically, we have our SONAR platform, and we're showing charts and doing a basic play-by-play action of what happened. In fact, a lot of our team, we have these things called market experts, and if we are the ESPN of freight, which was a new, people called us that before we thought of it that way. We have people who would be the former quarterbacks and running backs. We have something called market experts, which are basically people who have been truck drivers, have been dispatchers, have ran billion-dollar freight brokerages, have ran billion-dollar freight budgets and spend. And so we bring these people with really deep knowledge, and they're diagnosing the problem and communicating, and I think gives them a forum to be, they're They're sportscasters, but in freight. Our play is the field is the freight market, and they have a chance to sort of tell that story.
Yeah, that is awesome. And now, when did FreightWaves Now start?
So we started it last November. Right. So November of 18.
6 months.
Yeah, it's about 6 months old. And the reason is my son. I have he was 7 at the time. My little boy. He's starting to learn what I do, and he's like, "Oh, you're in the news." I'm like, "Because what do you tell a 7-year-old you do?" I do freight markets. He wouldn't know what that means. So I'm like, "No, I'm in the news." And it's like he can get he can get connected to it. And he's like, "Well, I want to be in the news." And I'm like, "Okay." So I occasionally, because I would throw up an article, and he would think it was going to stay up. It was all in like non-production environment. He thought, well, he got a little smart for that. And he's like, no, I want to be on TV. Awesome. So we went out and bought a GoPro. And we started doing these things called Fox and Fuller. My name's Fuller. He's Fox. His thing is Fox and Fuller. It's 5-minute little blurb, and I'd done this for a few weeks, and he was really into it. And it was like we would review the local Chick-fil-A. Like he went like a new Chick-fil-A up and down the street, and he's like, yeah, it was really good. The playground was dirty or something like. So he's doing these reviews and stuff, and I had the GoPro in my backpack, and we had released one of our versions of SONAR had weather, and I'm like, weather, you need to see it, and so I took out the GoPro. And Nadine was in our office. I started talking about it, and she was doing a demo, and we did it on film. We uploaded it, and we got a bunch of responses. Hey, it's really cool. Can you do another one? So every day we started doing it, and then it was like, wait, people really are thirsty for this information. It's been building since.
That is one of the things that I think about, thirsty for the information.
Look, this is an industry. Really it's a weird industry to people outside of it, right? It's this weird. Tribal is the right thing. I mean, the trucking industry, and you can look in the rail industry and the container industry. A lot of people who are successful because they absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. I mean, what other industry do people go and take their money to make the asset that makes the money into spend $500,000 on a truck because they want to go to a truck show and show it off. It's an industry where people love it, and I think that's why we've had some success, because we've been able to put content out and explain things. And there's also this sense in the industry, because it's so fragmented, there's so many people. There's always these, I think people have a tendency to believe that there's one decision maker behind it. Somebody's getting screwed. That's why the universal thing in trucking, I don't care if you're the biggest company in the business or the smallest guy, you always assume someone's after you. There's a little bit of chip on the shoulder. Trucking's a blue collar industry. And even if you're running in a private jet, if you're successful in trucking, you still got blue collar roots. And you have to be successful in this business. And I think because of that, there's a lot of questions of why. Why do oil prices go up? And so people say, it's the government screwing us, the oil companies. I think our job is sort of diagnose that. Why are rates down? The assumption the brokers are screwing us. That isn't true, but I think we have an opportunity to tell a story. And I think we have an opportunity to tell a story from a perspective of people who have been that. We don't care whether we want the market to be successful, we want it to do well. We don't have a say in how it ends up. We just have a say in how it's interpreted.
One of the things we try to do on Auto Transport Intel, and as you say that, is that to know that there are many people that have a dream to buy the trucking equipment, be a trucker, be out on the road, own their own business. And so knowing that, we try to think of them also in that, I'm in an office, I'm sitting at a desk, I was a dispatcher, but I want to open it up to the ecosystem to show the whole picture, so that you don't feel like it's just one guy sitting there screwing you on the rates.
Yeah.
Because I know what it feels like to feel that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of brutal, and you feel hopeless.
Yeah.
So I want to spread, if I can. First, I hit a little bit of hard reality, but then with broader education, maybe I can change this picture. Maybe.
Yeah. I think we've gone from a market. If you go back 10 years ago. And even recently, the reason people could make a lot of money was the lack of transparency. It's a true thing. Is there was no universal rate index I'm talking about the dry market. There was no data. There was no rates. Everybody was making decisions, and the only people that were able to make a lot of money were the people that had all the information. The brokers had an advantage because they were dealing with so many transactions. The big carriers had an advantage because they had just a lot of data, a lot of pricing information and market information that nobody else had. This is changing. It's changing where the smallest operator can be as successful and run as successful on a margin basis as the biggest guy if they make decisions based on information and not emotion. And so we're entering into a period of time where it has never been easier to be a successful trucking company with one truck. It has also never been more difficult to be an individual trucker. Right. And what separates the winners and the losers are people that have information and context for what's happening, what's about to happen. And so I think what you're doing in this particular sector is a really important thing. And I'm humbled and honored that you're here, because when I heard there's an auto when I heard that this existed, I was so ecstatic, because I'm like, thank you for bringing light to a sector that I have been curious about.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
It's a really cool thing.
You know, you said transparency.
It's our event.
Transparency.
It is our event.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's not. I didn't say that. I'm like, I think fundamentally, this industry is getting really cool, and it's getting cool because of all of the groundswell of just, like people blogging and people talking and putting YouTube videos up. Yeah. It's bringing things to light that we've never had the opportunity to do in platforms.
Seeing drivers making videos, and then another driver pops up, and then another, is telling us something.
Yeah, and look, it's funny, is like, these are not, the videos are compelling in terms of context. They have really good stories, but anybody can do it. And it's I mean,
and now they are.
And they should.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's so fascinating. I know. So I'll tell you a secret. We ran FreightWaves.com up until Friday. It was run on Squarespace.com. $26 a month. Yeah. We got to 2.5 million page views a month on freaking Squarespace. Wow. So the next entrepreneur tells me they can't run. Wow. There should be 1,000 FreightWaves. That's competitors.
Amazing.
Because there's no barriers to entry in news. All you have to have is content and data and understanding. So I challenge ATI. You guys are going to throw up. We want to see it. Come on, bring it on. So we'll carry your content.
Man, we should do that.
You do it. I want the auto. I want the what are we call
Auto
this?
Transport Intel.
Auto Transport Intel, right on FreightWaves.com for the car haulers. We're gonna do it.
Wow.
Right here.
Wow.
Let's get it done.
Wow.
Just needs a few of your venture capitalists.
Wow.
Hey,
yeah,
look.
Wow.
The great thing about venture capital funding is the more you lose, the more they give you to burn. So like that's what's so crazy is that. So one of the things one of the things that's funny about the whole world of VC is that I didn't understand this, because you're like, how does Uber lose all this money? And it's as long as these companies are growing top line, they don't play by everybody else's. They don't have to play by everybody else's rules, and that's not a legal or moral, ethical thing. It's just they don't have to make a profit. And so it's interesting as you are a venture-backed company, there's a lot of interest of getting your word out and your marketing, your branding to build an audience, and that's more important to these VCs than being profitable, because they're focused on, can I build this business to be the next Amazon, the next the next Tesla or whatever. They don't get caught up in short-term profits.
And that's what I wanted to end with, is that, here we are today. You've got to be thrilled with what you've built in such a short amount of time. And the way, you know what you want to do. It's based on the market, getting information, covering stories. Now, the future, and not only when I say the future, it feels like it's already here. Like it just got here. Okay? Right?
It's coming.
So we still have a little bit of time.
ATI is right on FreightWaves.com.
Wow.
I like it. Let's do it. June 1st. Right here, you hear it. June 1st. You can set it up. You can check it out. We're gonna start covering the auto transport news.
Wow.
I need someone to write. You guys could write? You can write?
I'm a writer.
You're a writer? Let's publish it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right here, right now.
Wow.
So you're going to have, weekly, we'll do a weekly story on what's happening in auto transport. You in?
I'm in.
All right, you heard it. He's committed. We got it. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to publish it.
Yeah. So. Wow, thanks. This is unbelievable. I'm here with Craight Fuller, CEO of FreightWaves, and I really don't even know what to say. It's amazing. But I want to say this, is that you got to check out What the Truck, which Tim Dooner, right, that's his segment.
Yes, we have Chad and JP, and I think Tim is taking over.
Okay.
So I think JP is going back to be a journalist and write all sorts of madness. So.
Wow, awesome. I mean, we're gonna create some killer content, and I now have a new friend.
You do,
Craight
and you have a new
Fuller.
site. We have
Wow.
an ATI.
This is crazy.
ATI right on. We gotta come up with a really cool.
Yeah,
thing.
we'll work on that.
All right,
I love doing branding and naming
Let's
and
do
all
it.
that stuff.
Let's
do it.
right there.
Okay.
Awesome.
This is
All
Jay
right,
at
guys.
Auto Transport Intel.
See you.
Learn